Greetings, salutations, namaste. This drop will be a bit of a mixed bag, cosmic cocktail hour freestyle stilo. Gonna kind of look at the holiday transits and see what's ahead for Christmas, New Year's. I'm dropping this just the weekend before Thanksgiving. So I figured it'd be a good time to kind of get our bearings from like a navigational standpoint, where we're headed. So I'm going to try and breeze through planet by planet, graha by graha, and just give a bit of a quick and dirty on each one. Start with Mars, which picked on in a recent video about its retrograde. I don't even want to say problematic, but it's just probably the least helpful maybe of the grahas during this period, which is actually a good sign overall that the rest of the planets are in good dignity or doing something interesting. And if you want some details about what to expect in this retrograde, which I definitely think is worth paying attention to, you can check out a video I did specifically on it. It's Mars Retro. I'll throw up a link or a screenshot. And what I can say is this: when Mars goes retrograde, the idea of definitely picking your battles so as to avoid the wrong war comes into play. It's the little things that kill when Mars is retro. Frustrations mount up. Your body might not respond well because Mars is definitely a signifier of health. It's a signifier of blood, so you might even feel anemic or fatigued, possibly, a little sluggish. So the idea is definitely to be proactive, do a lot of restorative physical activities, things that you can repeat during this cycle that will help your body improve. Mars is agency. It's your sense of action, even your sense of duty. It's the soldier. So when it's retro, it's sort of questioning all of these things. It's like, what is my purpose? Why am I doing these things that I always do? It's a good time to be reflective rather than interested in achieving action. It's not to say that you shouldn't try and do things, try and get things done, but don't be surprised if it feels like you're moving through a lot of mud, Mississippi mud, when you're trying to do it. So continuing with Mars, I'll talk a little bit more about that as I segue into Venus. Mars is actually in a Parivartana yoga with Venus, meaning that they are in each other's houses of rulership. Mars is in Taurus and Venus is in Scorpio. So when this happens, it creates a dynamic relationship between these houses. And since I'm always talking about Kriya Yoga, use this as an opportunity to tout that again, because the head is the second house, and the base chakra is Scorpio. And it's sort of where we pull from when we're meditating up to the crown chakra. So there's actually a beautiful line going between these 2 points. Mars will be in Taurus until, I think, March. And so to give you an idea, Venus will move all the way around the zodiac from Scorpio to the next Mars-ruled house, Aries, before Mars even gets into Gemini. That's how long Mars is going to be kind of stationed in Taurus in retrograde, and then going forward starting in January. So onto Venus. Venus has been in combustion with the sun for a good long while, and the great news is, especially for anybody who has Venus ruling their chart, that's pretty much for the foreseeable future over. Venus and Mercury will get some breathing room. They always travel with the sun very close by, no more than 2 zodiac signs adjacent. So they're always bird dogging the sun. And in the case where they get too close, these energies can be eclipsed really by the sun. The brightness, it's sort of the combustion is actually a dimming of the powers of the planet that becomes combust. So this is going to no longer be the case. Venus will move from Scorpio, Sag, and Capricorn, and before it hits another planet, Saturn, in January. So just moving right along, happy as a camper. until this beautiful conjunction of Venus and Jupiter in early February, which is going to bring some things full circle that may have gotten started, or perhaps just you didn't even realize you were seeding it at the time in March of 2022. This is a rejoining of these two planets. And what's great is there's going to be a lot less negative energy on this house of Pisces during this period. So this conjunction will really be able to bring out the beauty of Jupiter ruling Pisces, Venus exalted in Pisces. Should be a lovely time for everyone. So Venus, Shukra, will actually come conjunct with Saturn in Capricorn before Saturn makes its move into Aquarius. So Venus will become conjunct with Saturn twice. The longer conjunction will be in Aquarius, and that'll be in January. And Venus's best friend Mercury will go through its, every 3 months, I think, retrograde in late December, 28th of December, until January 17th. And I'll come back with a retrograde video specifically for that period to give you a heads up for the shadow periods and all that. So I'll pause on Mercury and just say Mercury is the one of the planets that probably gets a little hectic in addition to Mars during this period. Only because, normal retrograde, nothing crazy. It gets a little combust by the sun in Sagittarius, and that's in January as well. So a lot of things actually are going on around that period of mid-January. Mars comes out of retrograde. Saturn has moved into Aquarius, and of course the retrograde with Mercury and the combustion with the sun. So mark that on your calendar. That's going to be another period I'll probably do another drop on. Now on to Shani, Saturn. Saturn has now been direct for about a month, since about the middle of October, after having been retrograde, its annual retrograde for the past 4 or 5 months prior to that. And so it is going to move into Aquarius, which in addition to Capricorn, it rules. It's actually more beneficial, benefic in Aquarius. It's Mulchicon sign. It's about bringing together the collective consciousness and forming structures that will help that consciousness and the community thrive. So whereas Capricorn is very much about like hard work, it's your karma. It's the natural house of karma, the 10th house. The 11th house is the honors, awards, achievements, network circles, and that's Aquarius. So while Aquarius is definitely a heavily karmic sign in general, when Saturn comes in here, it collates the karma into manageable sections for the next period of time, while it's out of its house for the next 27 to 30 years. And it's sort of up to us to pick up the ball once Saturn comes out of Aquarius and starts its long trajectory around the zodiac before it hits its home again. Because unlike the other planets, Saturn's houses that it rules are right next to each other, Capricorn and Aquarius. So it has to wait a long time before it comes back around, since it's the slowest moving planet. It has to do with our efforts, our work. This is going to be an interesting move because it's going to cast an aspect, its third aspect, from Aquarius onto Aries, and it's going to cast its 7th aspect onto Leo, and its 10th aspect onto Scorpio. Now, why are all these signs important? This is the king in Leo, this is the soldier in Mars, and in Scorpio, this is the veteran soldier who's been through the war and knows the secrets, knows the art of war, knows where the bodies are buried. So when Saturn is looking at all of these houses, you can draw a narrative of sorts that the collective consciousness will be bolstered by addressing these houses specifically. That's government. That's what we do in our everyday lives as soldiers of this matrix. Because it's not just military when I'm talking about soldiers. Mars is like a pawn in the game of chess. I think all the planets actually have a correlation to the chess pieces. maybe I'll say that for another video. But anyway, so Saturn, however, is the communal consciousness. It's the people who build society, the engineers, both on a mechanical level and on an intellectual level. Those who craft ideas that bring the people together. Perfect example is the internet that I always give. In the 90s, the last time Saturn came through here was when we got the internet as a form of mass communication. So in the next 5 or 6 years, we will see the equivalent of, if not something far more interesting, actually. Now we have Jupiter, Guru, the planet of gurus, the planet of experts, of wisdom, of knowledge, of a higher knowledge beyond this matrix as well, where we burn off the understandings and move on to our next soul incarnation. This is Pisces. This is where Jupiter rules. Is very strong here. And it is the final house of the zodiac before Jupiter will restart its move in Aries. So very big times when Saturn and Jupiter happen to be in their own houses together. I've talked a lot about that in other videos. But what's going to happen in a few days around Thanksgiving is Jupiter is going to go direct after being retrograde for the past 4 or 5 months. And this is going to reignite our understanding of wisdom, of knowledge. Things that we may have been told in the last year even will be put on display for us to rethink. We're going to be brought lots of new information coming out, especially as Mars is in Taurus and casting its direct aspect on Scorpio, where all the secrets are. Saturn is looking at Scorpio in January, and right now Jupiter is looking at Scorpio. So the wisdom and the knowledge is going to be coming out through the secrets of Scorpio. What does that mean for this holiday season? Thanksgiving dinner should be interesting. It's always a good time to share information, share what you know, share what you learned. And then for the next few months, I think there will be a succession of revelations, both about things that we know about already and things that have been going on in the Scorpio land that you couldn't possibly know about until the time is correct. Finally, last but not least, certainly not least, is the sun, Surya. The sun is like a clock, like clockwork. It just moves how it moves, and it will continue going around through Scorpio into Sagittarius in December, where we will have the winter solstice on the 21st, and this is the most noteworthy time of the sun's transit in the next few months, and certainly is noteworthy enough to form several religions around and mythologies that center their stories around this descension of the sun through the ecliptic into the galactic center of the Gandanta point between Scorpio and Sagittarius, which is the Milky Way. So this is where the stories of the sun dying and then being resurrected come from. So this is why around Christmas and New Year's, I'm going to throw up the charts for those 2 dates, for the solstice and New Year's. It's a very powerful time, a good time for celebration, good time for reflection and generosity and all these things that the holiday season tend to embody. So I'm going to just wrap this up and say thank you for watching. Namaste, and everybody have a happy Thanksgiving. I'll be back on the flip side of that with probably a Mercury retrograde transit forecast. Till then.